This is 1320 AM WKRK in Murphy, North Carolina, cable TV channel 25 and worldwide at country.am. We hope you're having a great day today. And 11:07 our time. We're looking at 60 degrees right now. And we have Sheriff Derek Palmer from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office with us again this week. And Sheriff, how are things? Good morning.
Everything's going well. It's good to be here this morning. Looks like we're getting a little bit of rain coming in today and probably have some messy weather for the next couple of days. But so far it's been nice this past week. And
yeah, this has been an unusual winter.
Right. It has. It's been warm and then cold and then raining and then snowing and then warm again. It's kind of leaving everybody confused. I think it's leaving the plants confused too. I see a lot of things budding out and then dying off and budding back out again.
Have you had a good week so far?
We have had a good week, and we're still just trying to plow right along and do the things that make our community safe. And one of our top priorities, of course, is fighting the drug business and trying to make some headway there. And I think our officers have done a real good job as far as getting inroads into some of the major players and dealers within this past year. And we're just continuing to grow, and we're getting ready to see some big things come down the road and some big things happen.
And you mentioned before the show that you had two meth lab busts over the weekend.
We did. Actually, a marijuana grow and two meth labs.
Wow.
And it was something that our guys worked on. You know, they got some information about this, and they went out and did a search warrant in Mertz Creek community, and they showed the backside of Mertz Creek, and found a marijuana grow. And while they were there, they found a meth lab while they were there also, and cleaned all that up. And the people weren't arrested at the time because they weren't home. No one was there. Left a search warrant there on the table and left. And one of the homeowners made contact with an investigator and asked what was going on. And the investigator told them they'd probably wind up being charged the following Monday. And so on Sunday, they started going through our pseudo logs again and through all the pharmacies and found out these same people purchased some more Sudafed on Sunday. So they wrote another search warrant, went back to the residence, and found the people there with a new meth lab at that same residence. So we actually got two meth labs out of the same residence over the weekend.
For folks who may not understand the connection with Sudafed, that is one of the ingredients that a lot of people use to make meth, correct?
It is the main ingredient, if you look at the chemical structure of Sudafed and you look at the chemical structure of methamphetamine, there's only one molecule difference between the two. So the whole process of meth labs and the whole process of cooking is to take that molecule off of the Sudafed. And when you take that molecule off through these chemical reactions, then you have methamphetamine. That's the only difference between the two drugs.
Wow.
Yeah. And it can be a complicated process, but it can also, they've found ways of making it easier. And what we're seeing more and more now is called the one pot method or the one cook. And they're putting everything together and basically in one pot, letting it just all stew and boil and simmer together. But that is a very dangerous way to cook it because it builds up so much heat and pressure that you have to, if you're the cook, you have to what they call burp it or bleed it off to keep it from building up so much pressure it blows up. So if you're negligent doing that or don't do it at the appropriate times or shake it the wrong way, you can actually blow yourself up and set fire to your place. So it's very dangerous to do that. But we are seeing those more and more because it's easier to do.
It seems like something that's complicated. It's above my head on how to make something like that. My high school chemistry teacher could probably tell you I was not the best chemistry student, but the folks that are doing this seems like they could have a very a smart element to them that they could have a very promising career.
That's kind of one of the
miscommunications
about our drug dealers and drug users and stuff. People kind of think they're kind of dumb and that they're non-educated, crazy people doing these things. But to be honest with you, there's some very intelligent people that's out there doing this stuff. We have in the past, I know that when I worked at the Drug Task Force, that on these meth labs and different things, we've arrested people with pharmacy degrees and doctorates and all kind of different things as far as making this stuff and doing all these chemistry reactions and chemical reactions and things that's happening. So it's not just your average Joe Blow out there that don't know anything that's doing this. There's some very influential and some very educated people that's also involved in this. So,
a lot of people would think of Murphy and our little areas kind of like a quiet little neighborhood, kind of like a Mayberry people would move from other states to move to. When did things get to the point where we have more crime than we need?
I would say probably about 3 years ago or so is when things really started exploding as far as the drug business and those type of things. I worked at the Drug Task Force. I actually started the Sheriff's Office in 1996 and worked there on up until about 2000, somewhere along in that area. And then I went to the Drug Task Force and the Multiple Agency Narcotics Unit and worked there until 2008. And when we left there in 2008, I retired out of there in 2008. And when I left, you kind of knew everybody in Cherokee County that was dealing drugs and selling drugs. And it was kind of little pockets that was in different places. And even though it was here, even though it was a problem, and even though it was by no means a clean county, it was kind of contained, kind of knew where everything was. But after that we left the task force and that whole operation of the task force kind of disintegrated and kind of moved away from grant funding and all those kind of things that was keeping that going. Grants kind of moved away from drug business and moved into gang and intelligence type grant monies at that point. So a lot of the drug units were getting defunded. When that started happening around 2008, 2009, then we started seeing a rapid spike in drug use around the United States and around, especially around our little neighborhood. And when I came back in 2011 to work again at the Sheriff's Office, and I just couldn't believe the explosion in just a few years of how rapidly things have grown in Cherokee County as far as the drug business. And then when I was elected last year, or actually it was year before last now. I'm already through it for 1 year.
Oh, time has
already gotten away. But when I was elected in 2014, when I took office there in December, it was amazing to me. It was almost incomprehensible at the amount of drugs that were in Cherokee County and the amount of people that were involved in using and selling drugs in Cherokee County. It's literally, I don't want to scare people. I'm not trying to do a scare tactic on anybody, but the truth of the matter is you could take any neighborhood, any development, any road in Cherokee County, and just within just a small half a mile to a mile radius of any house you want to look at, you're looking at people who are either using drugs, selling drugs, or affiliated with drugs in some way. And so it's almost incomprehensible to try to fight this drug problem that's out there. I tell people all the time, that a lot of times from my seat, it's like fighting a forest fire with a squirt gun. Mm-hmm. You get a little bit accomplished, a little bit put out, but you know there's a fire raging behind it. Right. And so we're now getting to the process. We're making some inroads. We've made some major busts. We're going to do some bigger things coming down the road. And so we're finally getting to a point where I think we're graduating from the squirt gun and more into the water hose and into the those type of things, and hopefully as it keeps progressing, we'll have us a fire truck before too long.
when you make these drug busts, for example, you take out the meth labs.
Right.
Do you find that the persons manufacturing the drugs, are they users or are they just selling it for a business?
It's a little bit of both. Most people are users. Most people, that's the reason they start out making it, is they start out because of making their own personal meth, their own personal habit, feeling that habit. But as they need more products, as they need more ingredients to go in that, it takes either stealing the stuff from stores or legally purchasing it. And as they go out and purchase this stuff, it takes money to do that. So what they do is they make a little bit more than they'll use and then sell off the excess to try to make enough money to buy some more ingredients to make some more. And then sometimes that spawns bigger and bigger and bigger into bigger cooks until they graduated from just being a user to now being a supplier of other people. So that's not true in all occasions, but in most occasions it's a little combination of using and selling on both ends.
Why do most people get involved in, for example, meth in the first place? Is it just to get the high? Is it for commercial reasons? I know there's probably money in it, otherwise people would not.
And it's a little bit of combination of all of those things. When you interview these people, you hear the gamut from one end of the spectrum to the other as to why. But one of the things I think that we need to do more of that we've not done in the past is just education, just educating the people out there of what the drugs do and how they affect the body, and that includes getting the school systems and starting with kids and those things. I had the opportunity, this had nothing to do with drugs, but I had the opportunity of going out like to Martins Creek School last Friday night and just helping with their reading program and just reading to the kids and interacting with the kids. And I think the more as police officers we can do that, interacting with the young kids and getting them used to the police where they will talk to us and talk to us about things, that we can have more open and frank conversations when it comes later on down the road about drug use or even other things, other breaking and enterings or littering or whatever it may be. we can talk about all these different aspects and have a frank and honest conversation about it. And I think it'll help them open up a little bit more. But as far as adults and going to meth and using this type of stuff, I think it's a little combination of all those type things. But I think it goes back to, on the education part, of having the mindset of, I can try this, I can have a good time, I can feel good, and then I can just stop whenever I want to stop.
Right.
And before they know it, after just a few uses, they get so addicted and so ingrained in it that they want to stop, but they can't stop. It's not necessarily their desire to be an addict. It's not their desire to keep using. It's not their desire to be a dealer. It's just that they get so entrenched in it and so addicted to it, and it has such a grasp on their life that they can't let it go.
I'm sure we have listeners right now that either have family or themselves that are addicted to either meth or some other drug, and they do realize that this is not the life that I want.
Right.
But like you said, it has a grasp on their life. What steps would you tell that person, here's what you need to start doing to go back to the way things were?
Well, there's a couple things. One thing I encourage anybody to do if they're in this situation where they need help, or you're a family member of someone who's addicted, we're seeing more and more of people moving back home with family. They're in their 30s and some even older, 20s, 30s, 40s, moving back to their parents' house because they've lost everything. They don't have anywhere to go. And so now they're back at their parents' house, living in a back room or living in a basement, and they're now the family's concerned because they're bringing drugs into their home and they're addicted and they're wanting to know what to do to help them. So one of the things I encourage people to do is, number one, to contact things like the Mobile Crisis Hotline and Appalachian Counseling and the Balsam Center and those type of things, where you can get the counseling help and things that you need. Even if you're a family member and you're not the one addicted, you can still call these crisis numbers and these crisis hotline numbers and get the help that you need for this situation, or at least get some good advice for what you need to do. For the people that's going through that and the people that's addicted, what I always encourage them to do is, once they get their help and once they go through Mobile Crisis or once they go through the Balsam Center or Appalachian Counseling or some of these other places, what I encourage them to do at that point is they really need to break ties with all their past friends, all of their past history. I was talking with a guy this past week who was an addict, and we were carrying on this same conversation. And the fact of the matter is, you may be clean today and you may be strong today and you may feel good today, but if you go back and you hang around them same friends who are still addicts and are still using and are still doing these things, if you go back and you live that same life, even though you're clean today, you're going to find yourself going and doing that again, because you're not strong enough to fight that craving. You're not strong enough to fight that urge. And so what I encourage people to do is just remove themselves from them old friends, delete their numbers out of your phone and get you a new number and all those kind of things, and don't have contact with them, and start your life over again. Start your life with new people, with new friends.
That makes good sense. All right, a gentleman from Brasstown sent an email. Let me just read this on the air. It's questions for you. It says, Tim, thank you for all you do for the community. I enjoy listening to the Sheriff's program every Monday morning. He either listens live or when it's posted on Facebook. So the Sheriff's Office posts this on Facebook, on your page.
On our page.
Pretty much every week.
Yeah. And also on Mobile Patrol. We posted on it also.
All right. Would it be possible to ask the sheriff the following questions? I wanted to find out, how is the county divided, for example, zones, districts, etc., when it comes to deputy assignments? How can the public find out statistics pertaining to a particular zone, district, and are there crime watch groups active in the county, and who is in charge of communicating with them?
Okay, we've got about 5 or 6 different questions there.
And there's another one.
Okay, well, let's start at this one at the beginning. Okay, what was the first part of that question? The zones?
How is the county divided, zones or districts, etc.?
Okay. Well, what we have done is, and a lot of people don't realize this, and I discussed this on TV4 this morning with Greg down there. Our county, Cherokee County, is a lot bigger than a lot of people realize. We have 454 square miles of county. We have 54 miles one way from Wolf Creek to Topton. If you drive from the Tennessee line to the county line at Topton, it's 54 miles. And to put that in perspective, if you're at Topton and you turn west to go to Wolf Creek, and another car turns east and goes out toward Swain County, that the car that goes east can drive almost to Cherokee or Silva, almost to Silva, as quick as that car that turned east can drive to the other end of the county.
Right.
So that kind of puts it in perspective as to the distance that's involved there. If you're in Murphy and we jump in a patrol car on a hot call and we drive as fast as we can with blue lights and siren, going to some of the parts of the county as far as Beaver Dam, Unaka, Violet, some of those areas down on the back end of the county, you're looking as fast as you can drive, as hard as you can drive. You're looking at a 20 to 30 minute response time at best you can do. So keeping that in mind and understanding the size of the county, well, what I've done when I came into office is I broke the county down into 5 different zones. And when I first took office, we had 2 deputies that were out patrolling all the time. So this county is way too big for 2 deputies to patrol. And so what we did is we broke the zones, broke it down into 5 zones.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, there's some places we break this up, but just kind of give you a general idea, we use the natural terrain and roads to break the zones up. So from Marble intersection up toward Andrews is basically zone 1, from Marble intersection to Topton. Zone 2 comes down and it covers the Murphy area, part of the Peachtree area, Marble area, those type areas of zone 2. Zone 3 catches the backside of Martins Creek, or the backside of Peachtree, Brasstown, Martins Creek, basically 19129 and that area back in there behind it on the left-hand side of 129. And then on the right-hand side of 129, going toward the Tennessee line, would be Zone 3. That would be the Wolf Creek, Ranger area, those type of areas in there. And then the Hiwassee Dam, 294 Hiwassee Dam area, back in that area would be Zone 4. That would go all the way down to Violet, the backside of Beaver Dam Mountain, Unaka, all down in there. And then Zone 5 would be north of Murphy, would be going out Joe Brown Highway toward Hanging Dog, Grape Creek, this side of Beaver Dam Mountain, Bowling Springs, those type of areas. So that's basically how we broke the county down those 5 zones. Our goal is, and what we're trying to accomplish, is to be able for the county to give us enough positions and to hire enough deputies that we can keep 5 deputies out all the time, 24 hours a day, and put 1 in each of these 5 zones. We've not accomplished that yet. We're not got there yet. We don't have the funding. We don't have the slots available to be able to accomplish that yet. But we have made some other ways of trying to make that possible by overlapping shifts and having some swing shifts and things of that nature, so we can keep people scattered around this county and keep it covered at all times. So I hope that kind of answers your first question there on how the county is divided off into zones. Deputies, when they come in, they are assigned to a zone. And even though the deputy may have to leave that zone and back another deputy up, or multiple deputies may have to answer the same call, basically when a deputy hires on and when he comes in to duty to do roll call, he gets a zone sheet of his zone that he's assigned for, and he gets the warrant list for that zone. He gets civil service for that zone. He gets all the different things for that zone that he needs to be aware of and to watch for in that zone. So at the end of the shift, that's their zone that they're responsible for. And basically they kind of keep that zone. There's some changes in that when we need to, but basically they kind of keep that zone through their 2-week pay period. And then at the end of their pay period, they'll switch off into a different zone. And so we kind of do those zone assignments that way. As far as the statistics in particular zones, I've been compiling statistics for the last year on countywide statistics. We don't have that broke down right now into the zones. We are in a process of going through a new database system and trying to get that to where it will break it off into particular areas or particular zones. We can run searches through our 911 database as far as if we want to do a radius, or we want to do how many calls were in the Martins Creek area, or how many breaking the enters do we have that were assigned a report writing action code or whatever it may be for that area. So we can actually search those things to the 911 dispatch that way. But other than that, kind of everything's kind of manual right now as far as compiling those statistics. We are in the process, like I say, of developing a database to fix that problem. And one of the things that we are doing now is we're in the process of using 911 funds through the state of upgrading our 911 center and getting new equipment, new computer systems, those type of things. And we're getting a system that will match our report writing system for the deputies, so all that information will be in one central database, And once we can get that accomplished and get it in a one central database, then we can have more accurate numbers, more accurate statistics. But if they would like, I wouldn't care a bit to make some of these things available for the public. We can put some numbers out there and statistics out there. If they would like to send us an email or would like to post something on our webpage or whatever about what statistics they would like, we'll do our best to try to get those statistics together and put it out there for the public to see.
Are the 5 zones that you have, are they divided by land size or population, or is there any certain formula?
They're more based upon geographic areas. Like, for example, the how difference between Zone 4 and Zone 5, for example. Those kind of follow the terrain of the lakes. And so if you're looking at the lake and you're following on a map the lake as it runs down into Appalachia and into the Tennessee line, basically everything on the right-hand side of the lake falls into Zone 5 and everything on the left side of the lake falls into Zone 4.
Okay.
So we kind of use those natural terrains and the way the roads are to kind of break those zones down. For example, difference between Zone 2 and 3, we use 19129 as the breaking point for that. The difference between Zone 2 and Zone 1, use the Marble intersection, Highway 141, and the road over by the post office. So that's your natural barrier or natural break between those two. So we kind of just look at where the roads run, where the terrain lies, things of that nature to try to make those breaks in there to kind of where it's not so complicated as to where the zone lines are.
Right.
So we just kind of use natural features for that.
That makes sense.
Yeah. What else was on there? Crime Watch groups. We have a few people that showed some interest in Crime Watch groups and Community Watch and things of those nature, and we have some loose-knit groups that are out there that is available. We can get signage. We can get things through the Sheriff's Office and help develop these groups if we have any communities that are interested in enhancing that and developing that. That's something I would love to do. I would love to get more involved in that in these community groups. And if we could do that, if we can show some people can show some interest in getting that started, that's something we can certainly do through the Sheriff's Office and try to help get that facilitated. We have changed things around as far as our command structure, and what we have done is we have a deputy there. His name is Harold Mashburn. He's been there for a long time, and we've kind of put him over the training aspect and put him over our weapons and our firearms training and our in-service training and community events and those type of things that we're trying to develop within the county. So he would be a great contact for anybody that's interested in the Community Watch program. That's Sergeant Harold Mashburn. You can contact him at the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office and let him know you're interested in developing a Community Watch program, and he'll make sure he gets that up and running and gets it developed for you. So if anybody's interested in that, please let us know and let Sergeant Mashburn know, and we'll get that going. Let's see here. What else is in this letter? What I would like is to obtain past, current, and future stats in my area in order to have neighborhoods be aware of what's going on. And like I say, that is one of the things that we can facilitate. So if you want to shoot me an email, this gentleman that posted this, if he would like to shoot me an email and just let me know what statistics he's looking for, what he's interested in, we'll do our best to get those compiled for him and get them to him. And that way we can make our people aware of what's going on in that area, and that way he can let his neighbors know what's kind of going on in that area. And he follows this letter up by saying, I guess I can let you read it. It's your letter.
It says, I'm in 100% support of the sheriff's deputies as well as all law enforcement areas in our county, and we appreciate that. And some good information, good topic, good questions to ask. We appreciate that.
And I welcome our community to ask questions, and I welcome them to ask things that we're doing and what we're doing in the Sheriff's Office and why we're doing it. You know, if people's honestly seeking an answer and honestly wants to know an answer, I don't care a bit to sit down and talk to anybody about any questions they have. Where it gets a little frustrating sometimes is when people's not wanting an answer, they're just wanting to complain, or they're just wanting to get a gotcha moment on somebody. Those are not too fun to deal with. But for anybody who is truly concerned about their community, who is truly wanting statistics and answers, and don't understand what we're doing or why we're doing it, I don't bother me a bit to call them. We'll sit down and have a conversation about it, and we'll see if we can explain it to you. So anybody that's interested in that kind of stuff, please don't hesitate to call.
Very good.
Yeah.
And I understand you also found a stolen motorcycle this weekend.
I did. My wife and I went to eat Saturday night, I guess it was, and we were in personal vehicle and plain clothes, and I was trying to relax a little bit, and we were actually meeting some family at a local restaurant to eat, and when I was walking up the sidewalk to the restaurant, I looked out and there was a pickup truck parked in the one of the parking spaces there at the restaurant, and it had a motorcycle laying flat in the bed of the pickup truck, and there was a guy standing there with it that we've had some dealings with in the past, that we've actually arrested several different times with that motorcycle. And as I walked past it, I started to walk into the building, and it dawned on me, hey, that kind of looks like a motorcycle that I knew we took a report on, that I saw a picture of it on Facebook, that the victim actually posted a picture of the motorcycle on Facebook. And I thought, that's the same colors. So I want to go back and look at that. So I went back out and approached the guy and talked to him about it, and talked to him about the motorcycle, and he denied it being stolen, and said he had it for a while and those kind of things. And when I got it up and checked the VIN on it and ran the VIN through a dispatch center, they confirmed it was stolen. It was the stolen motorcycle we were looking for. But he was very cooperative. He had told us about who he had purchased it from and things of that nature. And so we're following that up with investigation today and seeing who the appropriate people is that needs to be charged with that. And it's just an ongoing investigation that we're still digging into and trying to figure out what the particulars on that is. But it just goes to show that, that no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, if you open your eyes and be vigilant about what's out there, you can find a lot of things and see a lot of things that are going on there. So even if you're not law enforcement, you run across things like that, please, if you think there might be a crime happening, you think there might be something going on, please call and let us know. I just happen to be a law enforcement officer and can deal with it myself. But if you're a citizen out there and you see some of these pictures of things being posted on Facebook that's stolen, and you think it might be that stolen vehicle or that stolen piece of equipment or property, please go ahead and call and let a law enforcement officer check it out, and we can a lot of times verify whether it is or whether it isn't.
And there's a video on your Facebook page, and I shared it on WKRK as well,
right,
of a security camera catching someone stealing a four-wheeler from
right.
Airport Road in Marble, I believe it was. Do you know if there's any resolution to that yet?
It's still an ongoing investigation, and we've gotten a lot of calls about who the person is, and we're reasonably sure we have them identified, and reasonably sure that this will come to a resolution pretty quick. But like I say, please still call if you've got any more information about that. That motorcycle that I recovered Saturday night and that four-wheeler that was stolen was both stolen on the same night. Mm-hmm. So it could potentially be the same person or people that stole both of them. So we're
always good to have security footage showing the face of people. That helps out so much than
it is
just having no idea who.
I have cameras and stuff up at my house, and we just ordered a new security system, and it'll be here hopefully this evening and get it installed in today. Mm-hmm. And but it's good just to know what goes on around there while you're not there, know, and who may be in your driveway and walking around, and vehicles pulling in and out and things of that nature. So it's just good to have, and good to have some security on your property.
Very good. All right, I see our time has come and gone.
All right.
Anything for closing thoughts?
No, I just want to thank my office for the hard work they do out there, and I want to thank the people of the county for your support and all the good things you do out there. I get encouragement everywhere I go, and when I go out to eat or I go to functions or different things, people are constantly coming up and bragging on the office and what a good job we're doing and what they're seeing out there. And so I just want to thank people for taking their time out and encouraging me, because it does help. Sometimes it gets frustrating. Sometimes it gets a little hectic sometimes, and sometimes you feel like you're neglecting your family and other duties that need to be done. And when you go through the court system, different things, sometimes you scratch your head and wonder why you're even fooling with it and why you're even doing it. But when the citizens come up and they thank you for what you're doing, it makes it all worthwhile, and you understand why you're doing what you're doing.
All right. Very good, Sheriff. Yeah. Thank you very much, and we'll do this again next Monday around 11:05 on WKRK.